Poirot College, and I'm honored to be your moderator for today. And we have two presentations, and we're starting right now, and I hope you enjoy. Thank you.
Hello.
Turn off the lights. Yeah, can you let me turn off?
It's like automatic lighting. I don't know how to turn it off or.
James got this.
Yeah. Okay, you're making it dark.
Come in. The weather's fine. Come on in.
No.
It's okay. I'll see it.
This is good?
It's all good. I mean, they'd rather see that. Hello again.
It's not that we don't
There you
like
go.
looking at you, Ann.
There you
Okay.
go.
Is that okay? Can everyone see it now?
Yeah.
Okay. My name's Dowdell. I'm from Valencia College, and I'm actually going to pass out, or I'm going to start passing out my works cited just so that you'll have like a frame of reference in case you ever want to further investigate this topic. The title of my presentation is Diana Tregarde, The Opposite of Normal, a look at gender roles. So to start, I'm going to kind of explain a little bit about why this topic interested me in the first place. One of the things that interested me is I wanted to examine literature, but I wanted to look at gender roles, and I picked science fiction as how they reverse gender roles and thereby institute social change by affecting images that we relate sociologically and psychologically based on what we've read and seen.
Good shot.
Part of the character in this book, Diana Tregarde, part of what's important about her is the choice of the name Diana, which was not an arbitrary choice by the author, but a choice of a name that is infused with power because of its history. If you look to the Roman goddess of the hunt, Diana, which, by the way, this is a nice statue from the Vatican Museum. In case anyone wants a copy of it, let me know. I took it myself. She was the Roman goddess of the hunt, and thereby that name is infused with power automatically by the fact that it was the name of a god or goddess, depending on if you really want to make it a sexist term or not. But that name further got inherited with power in the 1940s when comic book authors used the name Diana Prince for a character which is still revered today by women, and that is Wonder Woman, aka Diana Prince. Yes, I'm wearing the belt. I don't have the shoes on. I inject a lot of humor, just in case you're all wondering. Using a name with power actually started the process of gender role reversal in this work. By picking a name with a lot of power, you've already imbued your titular female character with power just based on the fact that you chose a name. Now, gender roles. What is a gender role? These are some stereotypical type gender roles. You have a 1950s housewife and Ozzie Nelson, which is, you know, an actor who the character of the father from Leave It to Beaver was actually based on, even though he had his own TV show. I don't know why they did that, but. Gender roles are images and associated behaviors with the sex of a person. Sociologists and psychologists study gender roles, and they study what is perceived to be normal gender roles. Margaret Mooney Marini, who is a sociologist, did a study and wrote a paper, and she discussed that typically associated roles are males tend to have instrumental traits are associated with them, and females tend to have expressive traits associated with them. What that means is that we tend to think of females as the nurturing, emotional types, and males are the strong, physical, we can, you know, build mountains and break down houses kind of roles. What Mercedes Lackey did in this book is reversed all of that. The main character is a female, Diana Tregarde. She is a guardian, which is one of the most powerful witches in the world, and they're charged with protecting humankind from all forces of evil. Her supporting characters, you have Lenny, who is an untrained psychic that lives in the building that Diana owns. He's a homosexual, he's a dancer, he's extremely effeminate. Typically what you would expect a woman to be if you're using typical roles. Then you have Mark, who's a police officer from New Mexico. So see, she gave a male role with some strength and power, yet he still needs to be rescued by the female lead character. He can't handle his problems all on his own. It takes a princess on a white horse to come in and save the prince. And then you have Larry, who, and part of this, let me preface this by saying that the first set of this book was actually written in the late 60s, early 70s. So the fact that she used Larry as a computer guy and stay-at-home dad is the complete opposite of how men were actually behaving during that time period. And he, once again, needs a woman to come in and pull his bacon out of the fire and save his son from, you know, damnation, for lack of a better term. One of the ways in which Mercedes Lackey challenged the tradition is one of the first statements in the book is this quote. The character of Diana is a small woman. She's only written to be about 5'4", petite, and has the build of a ballet dancer. So not someone that you would expect to be all-powerful and able to protect massive amounts of people. So when this quote happens, it's talking about a psychic barrier that actually physically manifests itself. I know this goes out of the realm of typical literature, but and the character that she stops with the psychic barrier is a 6'2" broad man that is described similar to a football player that you would expect to see on a professional football team. So the fact that she's strong enough to stop him in his tracks gives you pause, because that already is that kind of reversal of what you would expect, just based on physicality. To further enforce the reversal, there is this character who I will apologize because I'm going to butcher the name in Aztec because I don't speak Aztec. So I'm apologizing. It's Tezcatlipoca, it's smoking mirror is the other way to look at it. That's like the translated. He was an Aztec god, one of the two powerful ones. I really butchered it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You managed to combine two different names, but it's okay.
He's trying to come back to life and take over the world in the book. And he actually gets some followers to work with him to try to come back. And to prove once again how powerful the character of Diana is, Smoking Mirror says, "She seeks for us. Already she has probed the edges of our defenses. She is strong, and it would not be wise to attack her at this time." In which he's basically saying, she's stronger than I am, and I'm a god, so we need to back off and leave her alone. Now, in amongst all of these quotes and science fiction-y kind of aspects, which I find attractive because science fiction does have a purpose in literature as well as society. It allows us to express ideas such as gender roles with the freedom of not having to feel locked into something. So part of what having that does is opens a discussion. I have two pictures here. One is more of what you would have expected to see, say, a while ago. One woman is surrounded by a sea of powerful men, and that one woman was considered an anomaly. Whereas more frequently in time, like the bottom picture, there's many, many forms of powerful women that are objectified in the media as powerful and also objectified as women, which that's a whole nother argument. But science fiction authors use their ability to use role reversal to open a discussion as to what is normal. Some of the studies have shown that some of our more powerful women that we have in today's society were actually influenced by ideas that they read in books such as the Mercedes Lackey books. Some have mentioned comic books, specifically the Fantastic Four and Wonder Woman. I'm not quite sure how I see Sue Storm as being powerful, but that's a whole nother argument as well. And whenever we read something, whether we realize it or not, we're influenced by what we read. And it influences us to either open our mind or close our mind. Hopefully, as people seeking a higher education, we open our mind and not close it. But that influence allows you to open a discussion as to what a real gender role is. Like, in today's society, would gender roles be the same as they were in the 50s? What do you see in the future? And science fiction authors are allowed to probe that discussion and really make you think. That is the cover of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And
A good book.
Do you want to do questions after each one? Or
No questions are done at the end when both prisoners are done.
okay, then that's it, and we'll have questions at the end.
And now we'll get our next prisoner and we'll take questions at the end for both of them.